Dear students, I hope you are all well and studying in your home. Last few weeks ago, we discussed about the separation of substances and their different methods. And in these methods, sedimentation, decantation, filtration, we already discussed. Okay, today we will discuss about next activity, which is activity number 5. So you have to collect some muddy water from a pond or a river. If it is not available, mix some soil to water in a glass. Let it stand for half an hour. Observe the water carefully and note your observations. Does some soil settle at the bottom of water? Why? What will you call this process? Now, slightly lead the glass without disturbing the water. Let the water from the top flow into another glass. Okay, as shown in figure 5.8. What will you call this process? Okay, so if you see this figure 5.8, separating two components of a mixture by sedimentation and decantation. Okay, first, when sand particles or soil particles settle down, this process is known as sedimentation. And when we uh, take out clear water, which is remaining outside from the one glass to another glass, this process is called decantation. Okay, so then, is the water in the second glass still muddy or brown in color? Now filter it. Okay, because not all water is pure at that time, so we use a filter paper. Did the tea strainer work? Let us try to filtering the water through a piece of cloth. In a piece of cloth, small holes or pores remain in between the woven threads. These pores in a cloth can be used as a filter. Okay, sometimes you also see this process in your home also. If the water is still muddy, impurities can be separated by a filter that has even a smaller pores. Okay, a filter paper is one which filter that has very fine pores in it. Figure 5.9 shows the steps involved in using a filter paper. A filter paper folded in the form of a cone is fixed onto a funnel. The mixture is then poured on the filter paper. Solid particles in the mixture do not pass through it and remain on the filter. You can see figure 5.9, folding of a filter paper to make a cone. Okay, this is a filter paper and we just fold like that, it will become a cone shaped structure. Okay, then we use filtration process by a filter paper here. Okay, fruit and vegetable juices are usually filtered before drinking to separate the seeds and solid particles of pulp. Okay, the method of filtration is also used in the process of preparing cottage cheese, which is called paneer in Hindi, in our homes. So if you drink juice in your home or outside, you can see usually we filter it before drinking to separate seeds using a strainer. Okay, and if you prepare cheese in your home, then you will use a cloth, okay, which has fine pores. Mainly cotton cloths are used. Okay, then this gives a mixture of particles. Okay, you might have seen that for making paneer, a few drops of lemon juice are added to milk as it boils. Okay, this gives a mixture of particles of solid paneer and a liquid. The paneer is then separated by filtering the mixture through a fine cloth or a strainer. Okay, if in your home this will be make, so you can easily understand this process. Okay, now we will talk about the process of evaporation. This is activity number 6. Add 2 spoons of salt to water in another beaker and stir it well. Do you see any changes in the color of water? Can you see any salt in the beaker after stirring? Heat the beaker containing the salt water, figure 5.11. Okay, heating a beaker containing salt water. So you have to just boil a salt water. In the activity, we use the process of evaporation. In this activity, we use the process of evaporation to separate a mixture of water and salt. You already know that the process of conversion of water into its vapor is called evaporation. The process of evaporation takes place continuously wherever water is present. So, evaporation is a continuous process. Where do you think salt comes from? Seawater contains many salt mixed in it. One of these salt is the common salt. When seawater is allowed to stand in shallow pits, water gets heated by sunlight and slowly turns into water vapor through evaporation. In a few days, the water evaporates completely, leaving behind the solid salts, which is given also in figure 5.12. We will see after reading this passage. Common salt is then obtained from the mixture of salt by further purification. Okay, so you can see here, and you can see this process in some educational channels also. So obtaining salt from seawater. Okay, this is seawater here. Okay, so a pit like structure is made here. You can see these structures are made using stones, etc. Okay, so this type of structure is made and seawater is filled here. After the process of evaporation, only salt will be remain here. Now we read about the use of more than one method of separation. Why we need more than one method of separation? Because often one method is not sufficient to separate the different substances present in a mixture. In such a situation, we need to use more than one of these methods. Okay, after doing activity 7, we will understand it. Take a mixture of sand and salt. How will we separate these? We already saw that hand picking would not be a practical method for separating these. Keep this mixture in a beaker and add some water to it. Leave the beaker aside for some time. Do you see the sand settle down at the bottom? The sand can be separated by decantation or filtration. What does you decantate liquid contain? Do you think this water contains the salt which was there is in at the beginning? Now we need to separate salt and water from the decanted liquid. Transfer this liquid to a kettle and close the lid. Heat the kettle for some time. Okay, you can see here process also given. Do you notice steam coming out from the spot of the kettle? Take a metal plate and with some ice on it. Hold the plate just above the spot of the kettle as shown in figure 5.13. So you can see you have to do this process. Evaporation and condensation processes both take place to separate a mixture of sand and salt. Sorry, soil. When the steam comes in contact with the metal plate cooled with ice, it condenses and forms liquid water. The water drops that you observed falling from the plate were due to condensation of steam. The process of conversion of water vapor into its liquid form is called condensation. Okay, conversion into vapor is called evaporation, and conversion into liquid form of water is called condensation. Do you ever see water drops condense under a plate that has been used to cover a vessel containing milk that had just been boiled? Okay, and you can see when normally vegetables are made in any pan. Okay, when you take lid of it and cover with a lid, and you can see in lid there is a steam is found. After all the water evaporated, what is left behind in the kettle? We have thus separated salt, sand, and water using processes of decantation, filtration, evaporation, and condensation. So these four processes we will do to just separate the mixture of salt and water, sand. Okay. So today we will discuss about separating more than one substances by the different separation methods. I hope you will understand. If you have any confusion, you can ask. Thank you.